Hi and welcome to tellUs. In today's episode I'm talking with Sofia Jessen, who is working as a countryside developer and head of culture at Grästorps Council in Sweden. She was one of the initiative takers who took the Finnish movement Reko Ring to Sweden in 2016. We will find out more about this movement and how this concept quickly grew into a big success. One of the biggest problems we have today is the mass production and mass consumption, especially when it comes to food. We grow the food in one country, often with loads of pesticides used. Then it gets shipped and packed in the second country and then shipped to a third country or more, with a long process of many people involved before the food reaches the supermarket, where you then can buy the food and bring it home to your dinner table. The journey is long for the food travel in the world, and a lot of problems comes with that, including waste. Today we're going to talk about the different solutions to that, to save waste, transport, and to help local farming by minimizing the distance between the farmer and the consumer. Welcome to this third episode of tellUs with me, GAEYA, as your host. Welcome to the program, Sofia.
Thank you.
So lovely to have you here.
It's very nice and a little bit nervous.
That's fine. Yes. We are both nervous. So, as I talked about in the introduction, you were the starting point of a very interesting project that took place, and we want to know a bit, what is the Reko Ring and what does it stand for?
Yes, it was me and people around me that started it. But Reko Ring is a Finnish concept that we brought here in 2016. And it's very shortly, it's a way of selling food, local food, from the producer to the consumer without anyone in between, using social media. In this case, it's Facebook. And it's a very simple solution, but it works just because it is. Yeah. There is no need for any application. No one pays any money to be in the Reko Rings. And all the money that is paid goes to the farmer that have produced the products.
Yeah. So there's a direct contact in between the farmer and the...
And the business, the transaction is made on Facebook. The farmer places advert on the group side at Facebook, and then when you buy from them, you just write in the comments what you need, what you want, and the farmer brings that to one place. We have already from start said that every Thursday evening at 6 o'clock on the square in the town. And then everyone is there, just get the products and pay. Normally, it's a digital transaction of money. And in our small Reko Ring, it's about 15 minutes that we meet.
Okay,
so it's a very quick thing. And the producer only brings the products that is ordered, nothing more. So it's no waste. They don't have to go there and wonder if they're gonna sell anything. They know what they have to sell and have sold, and they can just come with that and go away with an empty car.
That is amazing. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest problems that we see today is all the waste that is happening around the world when these mass producers and all the stores as well selling it. We have a ton of food
waste,
and then not all of it gets sold and eaten up. So we throw away a lot of things. So that is amazing.
Yeah, and for the farmer, it's a security. It's a way of selling things all the year. In Sweden, we have a quite short summer, as you know. And in the summer, normally you have markets every Saturday. They stand there and they sell the products, but they have to spend all the days and they don't know how much they sell. And the products that they have in the winter is much harder to sell because they don't have the channel that the market is. But in the Reko Ring, they can sell what they have all the year.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it's very simple.
Simple, but straightforward, and I think that's something that we need to think more about.
Maybe it's easier to just try the easy way.
Exactly. Going a bit back to where it used to be, maybe before.
Yeah.
And I guess as well in other countries this is a concept that is still there.
Yes.
But in many of the Western countries we have started to lose this connection with the producer directly. So
we are very used to having the stores providing everything. And just buying what they offer.
And as we spoke a bit about before as well, when we were chatting before the program, that during this corona crisis as well, that this seems like it's coming to many people's conscious about that it's good to have these things closed. That
the awareness of how easy it is. In Sweden we don't produce as much food as we could do, and we don't produce the food that should be needed if we couldn't import anything. We would be very hungry here. Quite quickly. Yes, and it's sad because it's a quite big country and it's quite much land. We could have much more food produced here.
Definitely.
But it's easier and normally cheaper to import it as it is today.
And I think that's the case for many places around the world, that many countries are focusing on certain products, and then it gets less of the overall need that we have. So back to Reko Ring, can you describe a bit about how it all started, when you started this Reko Ring, and how it became and where it is today?
It stands for substantial consumption, and it started as I said, in Finland, but in 2016 we had a project ongoing on the small council I work in, and we tried to find new ways to distribute food for small consumers, and we found this concept, and I just thought that maybe we can try it. I started a small Reko Ring in Grästorp, in the town I live in, on my private Facebook. I talked to some farmers I knew, and they put products there, and people started to buy. And in the project we could also invite this man from Finland that started this, and he was here and had meetings with the farmers and interested consumers. And that really started it very quickly here. In maybe 6 months, I think they started 50 or 75 something new rings.
Really fast, like having nothing from the start and then
there was no money spent on this. It was only it was money to get this Thomas Snellman here, and some money to pay my salary maybe, but after that it is no one that gets money from this except the farmers. And it's really interesting how something can spread very quickly when it happens in the right time and with the right need.
Definitely. And at what year did you start this?
2016.
2016,
and now it's established. It's Reko Ring is now a Swedish word in the national dictionary.
This is
yes, and it is around 500,000 members in these rings.
Wow.
Yes, and I think there is 175 rings in Sweden. I think that this would have happened even if we didn't start that in Grästorp. That time I just happened to be the first one. But it has been a very interesting journey, and a feeling that people really want this kind of changes.
Definitely. And I think as well the feeling of knowing where your food comes from, and also I guess when it's locally you get to know the farmer, maybe if you go there shopping once a week.
You discuss how to cook it, and you come back next week and say that this was good, and how do I do this with this kind of meat or anything. It's really, we call it many times relation food. And it's one of the things with it is when you have a relation to the food and to the person that produced it, you don't waste it. You don't let it get old and throw it away. You have a responsibility to the farmer.
Yeah. And a respect towards what you have bought.
You understand the effort they made.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point, an interesting point to look at, because that's something that we have lost through these years, I believe. Because back in the times, food was something like really important and something that we needed to take care of dearly and deeply. And it still is in some parts of the world and in quite big parts of the world. But in the Western world, we have started to get a bit distant, from the relationship in between the things we are eating, and I believe that the respect needs to come back, and the value of what we eat and how it's produced.
And when you see that value, you can also be okay with to pay a little bit more to get a quality food or get some food that you really want. So it really changes the mind for many that you are willing to pay for the food. And it's easier to pay direct to the farmer than to pay to a store for something that is a little bit more expensive than the normal.
So what kind of effect do you think that this kind of movement can have on society, both locally and globally?
I think it's very good for the relation between the cities and the countryside. The people on the countryside have a lot of ideas about the people in the cities, and the cities is in the same way.
Vice versa,
And I really think that it's good to meet each other through the food. It is in the cities that we have the, of course, largest Reko Rings, and they that live there are more willing to pay for the right food. On the countryside, we normally get the food if we want from the neighbor or neighborhood, but in the cities you really value this kind of relation, a farmer. So I think that is one of the good reasons, and I think also it's a way for people to live their countryside dream. People that dream about moving to the countryside and be able to live on farming, to live on art or anything, but there is also a tourism
aspect
in it, yes, because if you have the possibility to have food and sell the food at a farm. I don't know if it's in other countries, but in Sweden, people love to go out to farms and shop from their small, the local food they have there. And that together with the Reko Ring, that is the full year. I think that the possibility to live in the countryside increase when you, it gets easier to be in the countryside and live on farming when you have a way to sell, even if you are not a very big farmer or you produce products that is quite expensive. You can find the right market for it. And we can see that there is an interest from the cities, the people that live in the cities, to move to the countryside.
Out to the countryside.
And this kind of movements get that idea a little bit nearer, a little bit more possible to do. We see an increasing interest to move to the countryside, and that is very good.
And I think it's also a good for the world and for the climate. Also, not everyone wants to live in the cities, although the cities are amazing as well. But it's fun to see the people starting to get more and more into living on the countryside and trying out to move out there.
And the balance between. I think that is very important, and I think the country will work very good if we have a good balance and a good relation between the countryside and the towns.
Do you think this can be used as a starting point to inspire eco-villages and other social and green economy structures? Like we were into this a bit now when we talked about moving out to the countryside.
If I look at the people that is interested in this, and the people that is administrators to the Reko Rings, there is a lot of similar movements together with this. And some of them is around eco-villages. Some is around to share areas on the countryside where you can have your own farm, small farming area, like carrots and things in the summer, and that you
grow them together.
You grow them together, yes. Like sharing solutions on that. So I think that platform is something that will result in more different ideas about how to live in the future. Yes.
I can see that trend increasing more and more of people starting to get curious. I know like loads of people wanting to move out to vans and live that life, and even though that is transporting yourself, it still has a bit of this down to earth kind of concept, and eco villages is
it would be a
really
dream to have an eco village in our small town here. Maybe you can start that.
Maybe that's what we should start, the GAEYA eco village.
Yes.
I would love that.
Good.
Yeah, it's amazing. There are so many possibilities that we have in this time that we are in now. And I think the more we are facing the problems that we have been causing a bit during these hundreds of years of our way of consuming and using the earth, it feels like the more pressure we get, the more solution driven we are, and the more possibilities we have to really change things in a good way.
And maybe a certain level of crisis is quite good here to really understand what's important.
So we have come to the point in the program where I usually ask every guest that I have on 3 different things that you can name of what do you think people can do to start to live more sustainable?
I think one easy way is to look at the energy solutions you have. If you live in a house, there is normally a lot of alternatives to fossil
fuels.
Yes. And there is also a possibility to buy electricity, even if you live in an apartment, to buy green electricity. Secondly, it has to be buy local. Buy local food and local services. It's not just the environment, it's also the society and the economics. It's better if you take care of what you have near you, to the small stores in your town. If you think a little bit more before, could I get this from a local supplier? To spend time in the nature, because if you are there, you get much more respect and much more awareness of that you have to take care of it. And I think I live in the middle of the forest here, and it gives me a lot of energy to be in it. I think that the human being sometimes replace what they need with consuming. Be a little bit better if we spend time in the nature.
So we want to inspire you who listen to take on your boots and hike out in nature. That is a good tips to give, definitely.
And also we spoke earlier about this being serious in this, but also be kind to yourself.
I wanted to finish off this session with the last question, and I'm so happy to have had you here on this show. So amazing, and it's so inspiring as well to hear about this movement that has been going on in Sweden for such a short time, but with such an amount of good things from this. So what I wanted to talk just the last bit about was this kind of movement, maybe already something that is going on in other countries, and in you who are listening in your country or in your local area. But if not, for example, or if anyone wants to start up something like this, how does it work, and what shall you do, and how should you think about it?
It's really simple. Create a group. Get members, get farmers, pick a place and a time, and just start. In some countries, of course, you may need some permissions. Yes, of course.
Yeah. So check out back home how the laws are set, and
but it's not a long way to go to start it.
Yeah. I want to address as well, we're going to put up on the website a bit of this information and where you can seek it out. Yes. So on GAEYAmusic.com you will get all the information about what we've been talking about today. So thank you so much, Sofia, for being on this show. It was a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah. It has been really fun.
And thank you all for listening, and I see you next time.